Now at 10, your commute home from work tomorrow night could get dicey. What you need to know on your drive from Utah's most accurate forecast. Also, Utahns are experiencing long lines at COVID-19 testing sites. This as the at-home kit supply is also dwindling. What to do if you can't find a way to get tested. And flight cancellations are dragging on this holiday season. How many are canceled, why that is, and what to do if your flight is no longer available.
Live, we're there for you. ABC4 News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Jordan Burrows. Thank you for joining us for ABC News at 10 o'clock. Weather is our top story tonight. More snow is set to move in. We, of course, have team coverage tonight. ABC4's Lena Takata is on the high avalanche danger. But first, let's check in with ABC4's Pinpoint weather forecast and meteorologist Doug Iverson. Doug?
Thank you there, Jordan. Yeah, we got some changes. Another storm. Right now, we've changed to kind of a calmer period, so enjoy the calmness. Tomorrow morning, good news if you're going to be commuting. If you're the lucky few that have to go back to work tomorrow, the commute should be much better than it was this morning. Of course, a lot of us were sound asleep after the holiday, but we're looking at a much better commute in the morning. It's the afternoon that will be a different story. We do have some snow showers over northern Nevada. That could spawn a few residual snow showers over the northern Utah area along the Wasatch Front. But this isn't the main part of the storm. The main part's still over northern California. And that's what will definitely impact your commute late in the day tomorrow. Let's take a look at the temperatures out there. We've turned cooler. Temperatures right now generally in the 20s. We ended up with a high of 43 this afternoon in Salt Lake City, believe it or not. That came just after midnight, and then we got colder once that front rushed in. We had gusts as high as 50 miles per hour with about 1.5 inches of snow. Of course, that was tough to measure with all that wind around. And get this, just above Alta, they had a 90 mile per hour wind gust and had 14.5 inches of snow out of this last round. So there's more to come. We'll talk about that in detail with your 7-day coming up.
All right, thank you very much, Doug. Avalanche risk is high in most of the state's mountain ranges tonight. This as certain areas have been pummeled with snow the last few days. Utah Avalanche Center has issued a warning for the Wasatch Range, Bear River Range, Uinta Mountains, and the Manti Skyline. We have ABC4's Lena Takata standing by live in Big Cottonwood Canyon. Big Cottonwood Canyon, that is. Lena, avalanche risk is high, and with more snow coming, it of course could get worse. What do people need to know tonight?
Avalanches are one of the most deadliest natural disasters in Utah, claiming 7 lives last season. And now the Utah Avalanche Center is warning people avalanche danger is high in many parts of the state. The mountains received dense and heavy snow and strong winds.
And those two factors, coupled with that falling on a very weak pre-existing base, is making backcountry avalanche conditions super dangerous.
With the high possibility of both natural and human-triggered avalanches.
What's making things super sketchy right now is we can trigger avalanches from hundreds of feet away.
The Utah Avalanche Center is advising outdoor recreationists to stay off of and out from under slopes steeper than 30 degrees.
Because once we trigger an avalanche, it's going to break deep, it's going to break wide, it is going to take out the entire season's snowpack. These are unsurvivable avalanche conditions.
And it's not just skiers and snowboarders who need to watch out. Those traveling on high mountain roads need to be aware if an avalanche is triggered, snow and ice can reach roads.
Just follow the law. When you're required to have chains on your tires, please do so. And if you don't absolutely have to travel during some really severe winter conditions, then don't.
And with more snow expected in the mountains this week, the Utah Avalanche Center will continue to assess the avalanche dangers.
We as a team are evaluating this storm through the night into the early morning hours. We'll reevaluate and we'll reissue the pertinent forecast as necessary.
The avalanche warning was issued early morning today and as of now is set to expire early morning tomorrow. Live at Big Cottonwood Canyon, Lena Takata, ABC4 News.
All right, thank you very much, Lena. The Utah Highway Patrol is now issuing a warning to drivers tonight. This as the agency reported 114 crashes today. Tomorrow night's commute will be rough, and UHP says to remember to always have an emergency kit in your car. This includes things like a phone charger, a spare tire, food, water, and jumper cables. UHP adds it's best to always check the weather, road conditions, and give yourself plenty of space between the car ahead of you. We now have developing news in southern Utah, where at I-15 it just reopened near Canaryville after a crash near milepost 47. UHP says a crash happened around 8 between a semi and a car, and a medical chopper was called to the scene. We, of course, will have more on this on ABC4.com and again on Good Morning Utah. And this was the scene in Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons earlier today. After high winds and snow hit the canyons, UDOT plows were busy clearing the roads and tree debris for a couple of hours. Travel continues to be a struggle all around the country. The Omicron variant is fueling more COVID cases, and winter weather is complicating holiday plans. Here's ABC's Andrew Denburst with the details.
On one of the busiest travel days of the holiday season, Omicron is contributing to massive flight disruptions. Thousands of travelers left to rebook their flights after a wave of cancellations.
I'll probably just end up getting a hotel and then try out in the morning.
On Christmas Eve, after catching a flight out of Newark, one family learned their connecting flight to Denver was canceled.
So we came back, which was also a severe just test of nerves to get back here.
Nearly 1,000 canceled on Christmas Day, more than 300 just on Delta. United and JetBlue not far behind, and over 1,000 flight cancellations the day after Christmas. Airlines citing the rising number of coronavirus cases among crew and staff. JetBlue is joining Delta, asking the CDC to shorten the quarantine period for vaccinated workers to 5 days to ease some of those crew shortages. On the roads, the more than 100 million who drove to their holiday destinations are also facing some challenges. A powerful storm is complicating travel out west. A 70-mile stretch of Interstate 80 is shut down from Colfax, California to the Nevada state line. Nevada State Patrol responding to a 20-car pileup, some injuries reported. In Washington state, drivers running into whiteout conditions. Heavy snow also expected to take its toll on travel into the Dakotas and northern Great Lakes well into Monday morning. On Monday, congestion in the New York City area expected to be up more than 350% during the evening commute. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
COVID cases are on the rise across the country, fueled by the highly contagious Omicron variant. Dr. Anthony Fauci said studies show the variant is less severe, but stressed to Americans don't get complacent.
If you have many more people with a less level of severity, that might kind of neutralize the positive effect of having less severity when you have so many more people.
Frontline workers are stretched thin, leading the CDC to issue an alert outlining contingency plans for rising cases, now recommending vaccinated and boosted healthcare workers who test positive can return to work after 7 days if they are not experiencing symptoms. If staffing shortages or hospitalizations reach crisis levels, the CDC recommends those same workers should return to work after 5 days. But the general public is still advised to isolate for 10 days after a COVID diagnosis. Families who have lost loved ones to COVID-19 can apply for reimbursement from the federal government. They can do so for up to $9,000 to cover the cost of funeral expenses. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has spent nearly $1.5 billion on federal reimbursements since January 20th of 2020. That's the date of the first confirmed case of COVID-19 in the U.S. And as of December 6, 226,000 people have received money. Utahns are reporting long lines at COVID-19 testing sites tonight. COVID-19 testing providers tell us as cases go up, so does the demand for the tests. A majority of sites are closed for Sundays. However, this is from the Cannon Health testing site in Salt Lake City. This site offers a dedicated lane for travelers who need testing prior to leaving Utah. We reached out to Test Utah this evening, who gave us this statement. It says, quote, "I understand it's a holiday rush for testing. Nomi Health is continuing to increase on-site staff to accommodate the increase and ask everyone to please be patient and they'll be serviced," end quote. The University of Miami won't be playing in the Sun Bowl due to COVID-19. The Sun Bowl is the 5th bowl to have at least one team withdraw due to the lingering virus affecting teams' rosters. Miami's team was supposed to arrive in El Paso tonight. The Sun Bowl Association is working with the Pac-12 Conference to find a replacement opponent to play Washington State. The Military and Fenway Bowls announced today they were also canceled. Preparations are underway as people put the finishing touches on floats that will take part in the Rose Parade on January 1st. This year, the theme is Dream, Believe, Achieve. While the United States has been hit by surging cases of COVID-19, both the Rose Parade and the Rose Bowl college football game are expected to go forward at the beginning of the new year. Last year's Rose Bowl was canceled because of the pandemic. Utah will be playing Ohio State in this year's Rose Bowl. Greece is dealing with the aftermath of 2 earthquakes this evening. 2 tremors with a magnitude of 5.2 and 5.4 respectively have hit Greece's southern islands. However, no damage or casualties have been reported so far. The earthquakes were roughly 3 hours apart. The first hit east of the island of Crete. The second was about 15 miles northeast of the first. Officials say Greece sees frequent earthquakes since it lies close to a meeting point between the African and Eurasian tectonic plates. Nobel Peace Prize laureate and retired Archbishop of Cape Town Desmond Tutu is being praised all around the country today after his death at the age of 90 years old. Throughout the 1980s, when South Africa was gripped by anti-apartheid violence and a state of emergency gave police and the military sweeping powers, Tutu was one of the most prominent black leaders speaking out against racist abuses. Former U.S. President Barack Obama called Tutu, quote, a mentor, a friend, and a moral compass for me and so many others, and quote, the Dalai Lama said Tutu, quote, was entirely dedicated to serving his brothers and sisters for the greater common good, end quote. A Utah duck hunter is fighting for his life after being pulled from freezing water at Quail Creek State Park near Hurricane. Park rangers say this happened yesterday while the man was duck hunting with his brother. They say he'd gone to retrieve a duck he had shot and underestimated the distance. They say his brother jumped in to save him. However, he was airlifted to a nearby hospital. The Hurricane Police Department is reminding its residents to stay safe this holiday. But first, they wanted to serenade its residents. Take a listen.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light.
I wish I could sing that good. Officer Dan Raditz took time during his shift to sing the almost 80-year-old Christmas song, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. The 15-year veteran, 3 with HPD, ended the 2-minute rendition by telling everyone to stay safe and enjoy the holiday weekend. All right, coming up, Craig Worth takes us on a journey of New Year's Eve celebrations of the past. See how they used to celebrate the times before TV. This week starts the countdown to New Year's Eve. We know COVID is again muting some of our planned celebrations, such as in the Times Square and here in Utah. Of course, most of us have turned to TV anyway to watch New Year's Eve, so we still have our New Year's TV shows next Friday night, even if the events are scaled down. Craig Worth takes us back to spend a few moments to think about New Year's Eve before TV and the time when all was seemingly carefree. Imagine for a moment that we are going to a party away the night like it was in the 1930s.
Now, in the 30s, they really meant Happy New Year. Let's party. Well, except the 1935 Salt Lake Telegram was a bit cynical. And may all you suckers have a Happy New Year. You know, many of us welcome in the new year by watching television. We see festivals and events and dances from far away. Oh, but in the 1930s, you should have seen it in Utah and Salt Lake City. There were dances and events all over the place. This is one page of a Salt Lake City newspaper from December 30th, 1933. I counted 20 live parties advertised on that page. Let's go, the lid's off. Yep, let's go. The Pine Lake Club, way out on 33rd South, starts its dancing at 12:01 after the floor show. And, of course, the Coconut Grove would be packed to the rafters. There would be a jamboree and a dance until 3 a.m., with 3 great stages and 3 masters of ceremonies. And you know the Old Mill Club would be hopping, and it was. Now it would also be big band swing until 3 o'clock. And at $1 a couple, it better be good. Don't forget the 30s were also amazing times for Salt Lake movie houses, such as the Paramount. So of course they had live parties in addition to the shows. Now at the Orpheum, whoopee, get in line. Seats are selling fast. Big stage and screen New Year's Midnight Frolic. No, you wouldn't have left the Orpheum until early morning. And there were plenty of places to go after 2 and 3 in the morning. The Red Rooster was open all night, or frolic at the Palm all night. Yes, Salt Lake was the place to frolic. Place after place, stage after stage, and band after band. And one other thing that kind of made a difference for some that New Year's, January 1st, 1934. Well, at 1 o'clock in the morning on January 1st, 1934, Prohibition ended. And Latch's Coffee Shop latched on to that. Dinner and a beer for as little as 75 cents all night. So indeed, New Year's Eve was the time you heard music and laughter from one end of town to the other, all night long. So, however you welcome in the new year, remember, Happy New Year. Craig Worth, ABC 4 News.
All right, Happy New Year's Eve, just a week early to everybody. But of course, we're checking those road conditions. Have Doug Iverson standing by. Doug, you said tomorrow night's going to get a little rough for those drivers out there.
Yeah, I think that's will be the worst part of traveling tomorrow. Will be in the evening, well into the nighttime. We could even see the storminess last into Tuesday morning. So let's take a look at the weather headlines. We'll start off with more snow. We're okay with that. We could use more snow, right? But I don't know about the wind. Those 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts above Alta, don't need those anymore, but we have more wind in the forecast, unfortunately. It will turn colder midweek, so Tuesday, Wednesday, a lot of us will only see highs in the mid-20s. Now, you got to remember, earlier today, just after midnight, we were in the mid-40s, so big change temperature-wise for sure. So what do we got going on the satellite radar map? First of all, I need to tell you about southern Wyoming. They've had so much wind and snow. You know how bad it can get, so bad that I-80 east of Evanston all the way to Cheyenne, that's about a 400-mile stretch of I-80 closed. due to blowing and drifting snow. So if you're here in northern Utah thinking, you know what, I'm going to take a nice little drive through southern Wyoming, think again. You can't get any farther east of Evanston. So just something to plan ahead. Looking ahead, this is our next weather maker. This is the storm that we're talking about that will impact your commute tomorrow evening. And we already have winter weather alerts out. The purple area is winter weather advisory. Now for the Wasatch Front, for the most part, the advisory really doesn't kick in until 2 in the afternoon. Then as the afternoon and evening wears on, that's when we'll really start to see the snow fall, and of course the wind will really kick up as well. Wind gusts 35 to 40 miles per hour for the Wasatch Front, at least Salt Lake City and Provo and Ogden, 2 to 5 inches. For the Wasatch Mountains, anywhere from 8 to 16 inches of snow, and hopefully no 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We're looking at wind gusts up to around 40 for the higher elevations. 39 will be our high in Salt Lake City before it really starts to snow. 29 is what we're going to wake up to tonight, tomorrow morning. We're looking at 35 in Provo. Vernal will be in the mid-20s overnight. Elsewhere, Pinedale, boy, you're going to be cold tomorrow morning. Low of 9, only warm up to 27. Very windy. What's new in Rock Springs, huh? 31. We have snow likely for Evanston, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, and you guessed it, more wind. Now for the rest of us down a little farther south, Fillmore, you're at 36 with 21 to wake up to for your Monday morning. Also 36 expected for a high in Gunnison. And for southern Utah, a chance of rain and snow for St. George and for Kanab. It'll be mainly snow. We could get some accumulation there, say 2 to 4 inches. St. George, chance of rain and snow again on Tuesday. A little bit colder as we go into the last day of 2021. Chance of more rain and snow, and we're definitely colder going into the first weekend of the new year with a high of only 33. Wasatch Front, snow likely tomorrow. It may take all day to get here, but it's a-coming, and so is that wind. Chance of that snow could linger Tuesday morning. Maybe some of that lake effect snow kicking in for your Tuesday morning commute. Oh, that won't be fun. Look how cold it's going to be. Highs only in the 20s. Tuesday through Wednesday will bump up a little bit. And then for the last day of the year, chance of more snow going into the first weekend of the year, chance of more snow and colder. Jordan.
Okay, Doug, a rough day on the road for drivers, and then it'll be rough for the Jazz next couple of days, Wes.
Wes Ruff?
Wes Ruff.
I see what you did there. Yeah, the Jazz won their 3rd straight game last night, but it may have been a costly victory. And Zach Wilson has his best play in the NFL so far. We'll show you what he did when we come back with sports.
Time now for ABC4 News Sports with Wesley Ruff.
It was good news, bad news for the Utah Jazz last night. The good news, they rallied from a 16-point deficit to beat the Mavericks, their 11th win in the last 13 games. But the bad news, they're going to be without Donovan Mitchell for the next 2 games. Mitchell suffered a lower back strain last night, so he'll stay in Salt Lake City to get treatment while the team travels to San Antonio and then on to Portland. Mitchell scored 33 points last night as the Jazz beat a depleted Mavericks team 120-118. But that back is going to give him some problems.
When I threw the pass to Mike, I don't really know how to describe the feeling, but it's just like when you get to kind of stand straight up. But I got worked on and, I dunked right after that, so I was all right.
It's a good win, obviously, but it should, we shouldn't get used to that. We don't want to get used to giving up 116 points. And
it's not always going to be pretty, man. It's not going to be, sunshines and rainbows. You would think, with guys out, typically everybody's like, they're going to come out and we're going to come out and do what we do. But at the end of the day, those sometimes are the tougher games.
We weren't as sharp mentally. There was a couple transition defense situations where we got caught backpedaling. So a lot of little things like that really, really add up.
For us to pull out a win, last year, I don't know if we, pull this one out, the way we did. That's the sign of growth and continuing to grow as a team.
Rose Bowl week is upon us, but it starts on a very somber note. It was 1 year ago that Utah lost running back Ty Jordan in an accidental gunshot incident. Jordan established himself as the running back of the future for Utah, and his sudden and unexpected death shook the Utah football program to its core. They regrouped only to suffer another tragedy this year with the death of Aaron Lowe. But all of that has helped mold this team to where it is today.
The amount of adversity we have faced, and I feel like it's brought us closer as brothers on the team. And, I know I've been, through a lot of hardship, and I know how it's changed me. And now a lot of this team has experienced their first hardship and a couple hardships and a lot of triumphs too. So we've been in the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and we all kind of been even keeled between there and learned a lot this year as men off the field and grew a lot closer together.
And now they head to the Rose Bowl and a week full of pregame activities, including an eating contest that Ford says, unfortunately, he won't be participating in.
No, I could eat, but I got a game to play. You feel me? So I would crush it, but yeah, no, I gotta be quick. I can't add 10 pounds of steak to me. I can't do that. No.
Nope, can't do that. Hey, Zach Wilson's first year in the NFL has not gone as well as he would have liked. Former BYU quarterback has struggled at times with the New York Jets, but today playing against Trevor Lawrence, the #1 pick in the draft, he gave fans a glimpse of what they can expect in the future. First quarter, Wilson goes back to pass. He's under pressure. He escapes, heads to his right, gets to the sideline, does a little stutter step, keeps his balance, cuts it back, and ends up with a 52-yard touchdown run. That's the longest touchdown run by a quarterback in New York Jet history. New York had the lead late in this game in the fourth quarter when Lawrence breaks off a nice run himself, but he didn't get to the end zone, and the Jags failed to score before time ran out, and the Jets escaped with a 26-21 victory. Utah State's basketball game with San Jose State this Saturday has been canceled, and ABC4 News will be right back.
All right, let's give the people what they want. Doug Iverson standing by with the latest on any road and weather conditions. Doug, take it over.
Yeah, we got another storm headed this way, just in case you haven't heard. Of course, we'll get a little bit of a break in the morning. Wouldn't be surprised, at least in Salt Lake City, even in St. George, maybe some morning sunshine. But as the day wears on, it will really cut loose late afternoon tomorrow night for Salt Lake. We'll have a high of 39 before the rise, but 2 to 5 inches of snow out of this next round and a lot more wind as well.
All right, thank you very much, Doug. Up next, of course, we have Real Sports Live. That's all for us tonight. Remember, you can always find us online at abc4.com. Get some sleep. Take care.